Hi again, everyone. This is Mark Rogers of Mark Rogers TV, wishing you a happy new year. Hope you're dried out and hope you're ready to take in the college football today. This is one of my most favorite days of the year. Opening day of college football, rivalry weekend, championship weekend, the first weekend of December, and right here with the big bowl games. Of course, the national semifinal games have given a different twist to New Year's Day, but we still have the citrus and the peach this year, and of course, the Outback Bowl as well. It's also one of the more frustrating times for a college football fan. We've got three SEC teams playing at the same time, and usually three Big Ten teams taking them on. This year, Central Florida and two Big Ten teams taking on the likes of the SEC at the same time. So this is one of the more frustrating times, trying to maintain eyes on three games at the same time, starting at 1 o'clock. Well, the first game's at noon in just a few minutes, so let's knock this one out. Michigan, South Carolina. I like the underdog to cover. Take South Carolina. The line is at 8 points as of this morning. Michigan does win the game and finish an 8-0 season for the Big Ten. Auburn, Central Florida. I think Central Florida will be competitive in this game. Auburn, not extremely explosive on offense other than the Georgia game, and that had a lot to do with the defensive front for Auburn. Tigers win it. I will take Central Florida plus the 11 points. And finally, LSU and Notre Dame. I like the Tigers to win and cover the 3 points. I am very intrigued in all three of these games, but especially this one. LSU and Notre Dame could be the best of the bunch. But I like LSU to cover despite the lack of an explosive offense. I hate to give the 3 points, but I like them similar to what they did last year to Louisville, although very different circumstances in terms of Lamar Jackson and Notre Dame being a more complete team. But LSU will show up and show their superior athleticism across the board and win the game by more than 3. All right, the national semifinals. And I was thinking back to 2014, 15, and 16. I do agree with a lot of people out there that are talking about these being the most competitive games in that, well, we've got hindsight to work with. We'll see how competitive they are. We've had other competitive matchups that we thought were going to be competitive, and they didn't turn out that way. But in the national semifinals, it was easy for me to pick Oregon the first year against Florida State. Not so much Ohio State, but I did pick the Buckeyes to beat Alabama. And then the next year with 2015, I did pick Alabama easily against Michigan State and picked Clemson to beat Oklahoma. Didn't have to think about that one too much. Last year, Bama, the easy pick against Washington. Clemson, Ohio State, the Buckeyes were 1.5 to 2 point favorite. And I just grinded on that pick more than any pick in the last 3 years during the major bowl games and certainly the playoffs, and finally picked the Buckeyes to win by that much. I even took Clemson with whatever turned out to be the 2.5 points. I thought it was going to be that close. So these games here have caused me thought. Not that I've researched and diagnosed this. If you're catching me for the first time predicting these games, this is all for entertainment value and fun. Do not take these to the bank. I'm making these predictions like in the span of like 18 seconds. I'm looking at the games. I watch a ton of college football, cover it on a daily basis, as you can see. So I'm just relying on my knowledge of the teams based on watching the games and researching just for this channel, but not doing handicapping. All right. So these are rough. Oklahoma, Georgia. I don't like that Baker Mayfield is a bit sick and has been for the last few days. I hope that is not a factor. I don't believe it's going to be. Fortunately, that happened several days ago, and he seems to be coming out of it and should be ready to go. And we have all the Michael Jordan comparisons to make. Man, I usually take the defensive team. I usually take the team that can pound it. I do think Baker Mayfield's a bit of an exception, and what Georgia's not been able to show at times against good teams is an explosive passing attack. They may not need it if they can run it, but Oklahoma, I think this is a different Oklahoma team that's a little bit more physical along the offensive line that couldn't handle Clemson in the national semifinal a few years ago, that I like Oklahoma to win this game. I will not be surprised in any such way, if Georgia wins this game. This would not shock me in any way, shape, or form. I don't have a score, but I'll come up with one. Let's go Oklahoma winning this game 31-27. Oklahoma wins 31-27. So take the +2. Clemson, Bama, similarly, I have just wrestled with this one to a certain extent. Certain days I like Bama, certain days I like Clemson, but the consistency of Clemson against really good competition. Alabama's tested from the past. So most of these players on the field have been tested in this kind of game, i.e. last year, of course. In terms of a big game atmosphere, they're used to that as well. They went to Auburn. They play LSU every year. They're used to playing in SEC championship games and national playoff games. But for this particular season, their most trying adversity was going to Starkville to take on Mississippi State and being pressed to the limit. They have not beaten a good team this year, a really, really good team. They've not beaten Penn State, Wisconsin, somebody like that in a conference situation. They lost to Auburn. They were outclassed in the second half of that game. They were pushed around. That's a bit concerning, although the linebacker situation is a bit more shored up, a bit. But Alabama and boy, I've got to go with Clemson. Got to go with Clemson, the defensive front. I think they'll make plays in the passing game just enough to make it happen. I'm hearing that Kelly Bryant has to make plays downfield. Doesn't Jalen Hurts need to make plays downfield as well? I just don't see the Bama game being any more reliant, the running game, than Clemson. Although Wayne Gallman might be missed just a bit. He couldn't run against Bama, but he kept them honest between the tackles. Clemson going with a more speed concept in both backs this year, and it gives them a different dimension offensively that could prove decisive as well. So I like Clemson, so I'll definitely take the 3 points. Clemson wins this one over Alabama. Really good game. Once again, let's go 27-24. Clemson wins this one over the Crimson Tide. Those are my picks. Would love to hear from you. If you're coming across Mark Rogers TV for the first time, I'm just waking up. If you're coming across Mark Rogers TV for the first time, please leave your questions and comments, and love to hear the feedback. Even if you're ranting at me being an idiot, I'll take it. Whatever the questions and the feedback and the comments, please. I would hope that the discussion would be reasonable, that it would be respectful, and that it would be fair, and you would bring facts and logical debate and opinion. But if you don't, that's fine too. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the games and enjoy the football. We'll bring instant analysis today as well, right here on Mark Rogers TV.